June 11, 1962. 3 prisoners vanished from the most secure prison in America. Guards found their cells empty, with no sign of how they got out. The FBI investigated for years and concluded they had drowned. But decades later, mysterious letters began to surface. Strange photographs raised even more unanswered questions, and one question has haunted investigators ever since. Did they actually escape?
Alcatraz Island sits in the middle of San Francisco Bay. In 1934, it became home to America's most secure federal prison. The government designed it to hold the most dangerous criminals alive. Its walls were thick, its guards were vigilant, and its rules were strict. But the island's greatest defense wasn't the walls at all. It was the freezing, violent waters surrounding it. The bay's currents were powerful, unpredictable, and dangerously cold. Officials believed no one could survive a swim to the mainland. Alcatraz housed some of the most notorious criminals in the country. For nearly 3 decades, it seemed truly inescapable.
Among the inmates was a clever and calculating prisoner named Frank Morris. Morris had a genius-level IQ and a long history of prison escapes. He soon connected with 2 brothers, John and Clarence Anglin. The Anglin brothers had also attempted daring escapes before. Together, the 3 men began plotting something extraordinary. They spent months secretly planning every detail of their escape. Using stolen spoons and tools, they slowly dug through their cell walls. They hid their progress behind cardboard grates painted to match the walls. At night, they crawled into an unused utility corridor to work. Piece by piece, they carved a path toward freedom. They even built a hidden workshop above their cell block. There, they crafted a life raft entirely out of raincoats. Every piece of their plan had to work perfectly, with no room for error.
On the night of June 11, 1962, the plan was finally set into motion. Each man placed a carefully crafted dummy head in his bed. The heads were made from soap, toilet paper, and real human hair. From a distance, they looked just like sleeping prisoners. One by one, the men slipped through their hidden wall openings. They crawled quietly through the narrow utility corridor. From there, they climbed upward toward the prison roof. They emerged onto the roof under the cover of night. Carefully, they made their way down to the water's edge. There, they inflated their homemade raincoat raft. With everything ready, they pushed off into the freezing bay. Behind them, Alcatraz slowly disappeared into the darkness. Ahead of them lay only uncertainty. The next morning, guards discovered the empty cells. At first, the realistic dummy heads had fooled them completely. Once discovered, the prison sounded an immediate alarm. Word spread quickly across San Francisco and beyond. The FBI, Coast Guard, and local police launched a massive search. Helicopters scanned the water, while boats patrolled every direction. Divers searched the bay for any sign of the missing men. Investigators found scattered pieces of evidence along the shoreline. A damaged makeshift paddle was discovered floating nearby. But despite the massive search effort, no bodies were ever found. The FBI officially concluded that the men had drowned. But without bodies, that conclusion left room for serious doubt.
In the years that followed, strange stories began to emerge. Witnesses claimed to have seen the men alive in different countries. In 2013, a letter arrived claiming to be from one of the escapees. The letter claimed all 3 men had survived the escape. It stated that 2 of the men had already passed away from natural causes. Investigators could never fully verify if the letter was authentic. Then came an even more compelling piece of evidence. A family photograph surfaced, allegedly showing 2 of the escapees. The image reignited public fascination with the case. Facial recognition experts studied the photo extensively. Some experts believed the resemblance was simply too strong to ignore.
To this day, historians remain deeply divided on the truth. One theory holds firm to the original FBI conclusion. The men attempted a swim no human could survive. The freezing waters and strong currents simply overpowered them. A second theory tells a very different story. It suggests the men successfully reached the shore that night. From there, they may have vanished into new identities entirely, living quiet, hidden lives far from their criminal pasts. Without definitive proof,
More than 60 years later, the Alcatraz escape remains unsolved. It stands as one of America's greatest unsolved mysteries. Whether the three men died in the icy waters that night, or lived the rest of their lives in secret, the full truth may never truly be known.